Hey folks, Nathan here for the Star Wars Timeline Gold, Star Wars Beyond the Films, and Cloud City Casino, which is a Star Wars podcast about gaming over at StarWarsReport.com, bringing you another of that handful of source books here from Fantasy Flight Games for the Star Wars RPG that I haven't had time to get to recently because there was just sort of a backlog of things coming out very quickly after one another. This is Force and Destiny Savage Spirits, another of these class-based source books, in this case a source book for Seekers. This one I actually think is pretty cool. A lot of these ones for the different classes tend to be sort of hit or miss. So we start out with just a generic breakdown of what's going on with Seekers as characters, and then we get into Solitary Travelers. We have specific Seeker backgrounds, quite a few of them actually, specific Seeker moralities, and some new species. We have the Anks, Athorians, and Quirmians. So yes, again, this is sort of the freak show when it comes to some of the more exotic-looking alien species here. It gives you a little bit, like always, about their planet, their culture, and such, but not as much as, say, a guide to the planet would or a guide to a type of planet would. If you'll pardon the kitten mewing here. We have some new specializations. We have the Executioner, which I kind of like. I think that's kind of cool. Basically, it's someone who tracks down, dark side things and tries to wipe them out to preserve the galaxy plus more. I thought that's pretty cool. We have the Hermit. We have the Navigator. And we have new talents. As usual, kind of a two-page spread of new talents. Specific Seeker motivations known as pursuits. So our specific pursuits here. And of course, then we have our signature abilities. We have Unexpected Demise, Unmatched Pursuit, and then a new force power, which is Farsight. That gets us into Chapter 2, which is our gear and whatnot. Again, kind of like with Nexus of Power that I looked at recently, most of the new gear and such that's in there is sort of generic. It's not specific to like this model by this company most of the time. It's more like optical camouflage system. Doesn't matter who's created it. It's got some suggestions of models and whatnot, but it's going to give you just sort of this is how it kind of works. It's much more practical than it is a resource in an encyclopedic standpoint. Some new vehicles, new starships, and then you get into your deadly quests, and that's getting into actually playing with these characters and integrating them into the party. So we have bits about that. Yes, as the cat's providing her own commentary, she must apparently like that. I do like the fact that they then start to get into some of the more specific things, maybe for a character who spends most of their time outside of civilization or outside of urban sprawls. So we have information on spending your various aspects from your dice rolls in a wilderness setting, and then info on including animal companion NPCs in your game, all the way up to beast riding. So you play after that, you get into stuff like, okay, well, how about getting the animals? What type of animals are common? What would be good? Their stats and everything, which adds a whole new element to the gameplay for many players. And then you get into kind of your typical end of book. Here's some encounters and general ideas for campaigns for Seeker characters, which leads us right out of the book. So again, this is one I definitely think is worthwhile if you're playing as Seekers or if you have a Seeker in your party. And honestly, even kind of taking a step beyond that, if you want to bring the animal NPCs in, it makes sense in particular for a Seeker, but the rules and setups in this could be used theoretically not just with other Force and Destiny products, but because we know that we can interact between this Edge of the Empire and Age of Rebellion, you could theoretically use those rules to tie into those games as well. So for those who are sort of the frontier woodsman type mindset, or those who want to be sort of the individual hunters out there, this would be a good one to pick up. Thank you, Kitty.